Lean in close, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change the way you see that narrow, forgotten lot squeezed between two buildings in your city. You know that space? The one developers ignore because it's too small or too awkward? The gap in the urban fabric where nothing seems to fit? Someone just built their dream home there, and it's a barndominium. I know what you're thinking. Barndominiums belong on sprawling ranches under open skies, with rusted tractors and endless horizons. They're supposed to smell like hay and freedom, not exhaust fumes in coffee shops. But here's where the story gets interesting, because the rules just changed. Picture this: a 25-foot wide lot in Portland, sandwiched between a 1920s craftsman and a modern townhouse. The kind of space real estate agents walk past without a second glance. The kind of space where dreams go to die. Except they don't. Not anymore. Because Sarah, a graphic designer who'd spent 7 years throwing away $2,300 a month on rent, looked at that sliver of concrete and saw something nobody else could see. She saw soaring ceilings. She saw raw steel beams catching the morning light. She saw home. And here's the thing about urban pocket barndominiums that nobody tells you. They're not just buildings. They're acts of rebellion. They're middle fingers to the idea that city living means compromising everything you love about open, industrial, breathable space. They're proof that you can take the soul of rural design and translate it into the language of the city. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it's a simple way to show your love for these incredible designs. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening inside these structures. The front door, often just a massive sliding barn door on industrial tracks, opens not into a cramped entryway, but into a cathedral of space. The ground floor? Completely open. No walls choking the life out of the square footage. Just one continuous flow from the kitchen island made of reclaimed wood and concrete, past the living area with its leather couch and steel coffee table, all the way to the back, where floor-to-ceiling glass doors fold open to a tiny courtyard garden that feels like a secret. The ceilings climb 20 feet up. Exposed steel I-beams run the length of the space like the ribs of some magnificent creature. And here's where it gets emotional. Every beam, every rivet, every weld mark tells a story. This isn't drywall painted beige. This is honest. This is raw. This is architecture that admits what it is. But the genius, the absolute stroke of brilliance, is how these urban Barndo designers are working with vertical space instead of horizontal. Because you don't have acres. You have feet. Maybe 40 feet deep, maybe 25 feet wide. So you build up. Mezzanine levels become floating bedrooms with industrial railings. You wake up in a lofted space where you can see down into your kitchen, where light from those massive windows floods every corner. The bedroom isn't a separate prison. It's part of the ecosystem of the home. You're always connected to the space, but you're also elevated above it, literally and metaphorically. And the materials. God, the materials are where these homes start speaking in poetry. Forget vinyl siding. We're talking corrugated metal panels on the exterior, the same stuff you'd see on a barn in Montana, but here it's painted matte black or charcoal gray, or sometimes left to weather naturally. The urban context makes it modern. We share new content regularly to help you create spaces you love, so don't forget to subscribe. Inside, polished concrete floors run throughout. Not because they're trendy, because they're honest, because they're durable, because when you spill coffee at 6 a.m., you wipe it up and move on with your life. The floor doesn't judge you. It doesn't stain. It doesn't need maintenance. It just exists beautifully. The kitchen, and this is where people always stop and stare, combines industrial-grade stainless steel with warm wood accents. Maybe reclaimed barn wood for the shelving, because irony is delicious. Maybe butcher block countertops next to the steel sink. Hot and cold, rough and smooth, industrial and organic. dancing together in the same 8-foot span. But here's where the story deepens, where it gets personal. These aren't rich people's vacation homes. These are being built by school teachers and freelance writers and small business owners who are tired of the housing market telling them they don't deserve space. They're tired of choosing between affordability and aesthetic, between city convenience and architectural soul. The average Urban Pocket Barndominium costs between $180,000 and $320,000 to build, depending on finishes and location. Compare that to the median home price in most cities, $450,000, $600,000, sometimes over $1 million, and suddenly you're looking at a revolution disguised as a building style. Sarah's place? She bought that narrow lot for $85,000, built her 1,400 square foot, 2-story Barndo for $195,000. Total investment, $280,000. Her monthly payment is less than her old rent, and she OWNS it. She owns the steel beams and the concrete floors and the sliding barn door and every single square foot of air inside those soaring ceilings. But the design philosophy goes deeper than just saving money. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means to me, and it helps keep the design ideas coming your way. Urban Pocket Barndominiums embrace something most city homes destroy: flexibility. That open floor plan isn't just aesthetic, it's functional evolution. When you work from home, the corner by the south-facing window becomes your office. When friends come over, the space transforms. Roll in a dining table, and suddenly you're hosting 12 people for dinner. Roll it away, and you've got a yoga studio, a dance floor, a photography space, whatever you need it to be. The mezzanine level that's a bedroom today becomes a studio tomorrow, becomes a library next year, becomes your teenager's domain in a decade. The space adapts because there are no walls telling it what it has to be. And the connection to the outside, this is crucial, happens through deliberate punctures in the envelope. Large windows, yes, but positioned specifically. Maybe a clear-story window running the length of the south wall up near the ceiling, flooding the space with indirect light all day. Maybe a massive sliding glass door system at the back opening to that micro courtyard where you've got a Japanese maple, some ferns, a bench, and suddenly your 250 square foot outdoor space feels like a private garden in Kyoto. Some builders are even incorporating rooftop decks on these narrow structures. Imagine, you're in the middle of the city, you climb a steel ladder through a hatch, and suddenly you're on top of your own building with 360-degree views of the urban landscape. Your barndominium becomes an observation tower, a sanctuary elevated above the chaos. The environmental angle is wild too, and nobody's really talking about this. These structures often use recycled steel for the frame, reclaimed wood for accents, polished concrete instead of resource-intensive hardwood, metal roofing that lasts 50 years instead of asphalt shingles that need replacing every 15. They're naturally energy efficient because metal and concrete provide thermal mass. Plus, you're building on infill lots, spaces already within the urban fabric. You're not sprawling outward, consuming farmland and forest. You're stitching the city back together, filling gaps, making density beautiful instead of oppressive. But let's get real about the challenges, because this isn't all poetry and steel beams. Zoning is a nightmare. Most cities have residential codes written in the 1950s that assume every home looks like a colonial with a pitched roof and vinyl siding. Try to pull a permit for a metal-clad industrial structure, and you'll meet resistance. You'll need architects who understand how to speak the language of planning departments. You'll need patience. You'll need stubbornness. Neighbors will complain. They'll say it doesn't fit the character of the neighborhood. They'll worry about property values. They'll call it an eyesore before it's even built. You'll need thick skin and a clear vision. And construction on a narrow urban lot is technically complex. You can't just swing a crane around. You can't stack materials everywhere. You're threading a needle, building a house where most people wouldn't build a shed. You need the right contractor, the right team, people who see the challenge as an opportunity, not an obstacle. But when it's done, when you're standing in your living room at dusk and the last golden light is sliding through those high windows and catching the steel beams, and you can smell the coffee brewing in your industrial kitchen, and you can hear the city humming outside, but you're inside your sanctuary, your fortress of solitude made of honest materials and thoughtful design.